Well, Scott, thanks for making time for me at the MedTech conference here.
My pleasure, Joe. Great being with you.
We were chatting before cameras went on. It's always fun when you're winning,
Yeah,
right?
it is. It's a lot more fun. Has a big impact.
Yeah. So Cordis, I mean, was for those of us who've been around a long time, was a coveted brand, stent, drug-coated stent. J&J buys it. J&J does what it does. Maybe didn't quite treat it well. Bounced over to Cardinal, right? And then we pulled it back out.
Yeah.
And now we've got a phenomenal story going on.
Yeah, it is such a blessing to be a part of this journey. It's an iconic brand and an incredible opportunity. And when we bought it, and when I say we, H&F, Hellman and Friedman, KKR, and the management team, we kind of saw three phases of our value creation journey. Phase one, the separation and stabilization of the company, an absolute mountain of work. I don't know if you've ever done a carve out, but they are, reputed to be very difficult. I can tell you for real, they are. 250 TSAs with Cardinal, really, really difficult. 10 out of 10 in terms of complexity, according to the consultants that we're working with. Took us about 2 years to completely separate and stabilize. That work's done. Phase two, kind of the optimization of the business, and that couldn't really begin until phase one was done. We killed 41% of our SKUs. We got out of countries we never thought we could have a sustainable, healthy business in. We went indirect in certain markets where we thought the cost basis of the business was an improvement. So think in terms of a little over $100 million in EBITDA improvements. We're about halfway, a little more than halfway through that. And then phase three, to your point, innovation and growth, the fun stuff, winning, that really began on day one. And we saw a three-legged stool from the very beginning. Number one, organic development and really unleashing the team. We bought an organization that was, how should I say it, undernourished, underinvested in. And we had to unleash the organic development team. They've done remarkable work. We're feeling the effects of that today. The second leg of the stool is with the Ajax team, Duke Rollin, who I'm sure you know, and his group. We call it Cordis X. This incredible ecosystem. And what we thought about from the beginning is, I love simplicity. 5 steps to an interventional procedure: access, diagnose, vessel prep, treatment, close. And we immediately deployed capital in the or undermet needs within each one of those 5 steps, either organically or via Cordis X. And then the third leg of that stool, M&A. And kind of the crown jewel for us on that front is MedAlliance that we bought a couple of years ago. And if you look at the effect of what we've done now 4 years in, when we bought the company, flat to declining revenues. Today, growing double digits. The US business, which is really the cleanest way to look at our underlying growth, because we don't have solution in the US or any of these really big forthcoming innovations. We just grew 20%, a little over 20%. So just really good execution. We gave the team one really good new product, but they've demonstrated their ability to pull through innovation. But what's coming, we think, is much more exciting than where we are today, and we're having some fun with it.
The legacy brand of Cordis has, I think when you think about, I think about Cordis, I think about Guidant sometimes. Yeah. Like there are people who came out of Guidant.
Boston, Guidant,
right?
Cordis,
you came out of the OG, right? There were a number of people, and we were talking about Todd Pope before we went on. But leadership, brand is great, but without the right leadership and without the right operating system, and you and I subscribe to the same operating system, and if we can, we'll chat about that.
Yeah.
It was really important as a leader that you had set what parameters down.
Yeah, so again, my whole theme, I think life can be simple if you allow it to be. Business can be simple if you allow it to be. Unfortunately, a lot of us mess up both, right? Because we get complicated, we lose discipline. I think there's 4 things that you have to do better than everybody that you compete with. And the first is the most important because it's the foundation of the other three, and that's talent management, what I call ARD, attract, retain, and develop the top talent on the planet. Second is operating with crystal clear strategic clarity, and you and I both subscribe to the HPMS process, and the mistake that I think most companies make isn't necessarily pursuing bad ideas, it's pursuing too many ideas, right? And as a consequence of that, you peanut butter resources. As a consequence of that, you slip gears, you miss deadlines, you fail. Internal confidence goes down, customer confidence goes down, and as a consequence of that, maybe the most fascinating thing, you see companies attempting to do smaller and smaller things internally over time. Best team on the planet, they want to work on big things that matter. Big things that matter to the team and to the customer, right? So I think that's critically important. Third, with the best team and strategic clarity, execute as if lives depend on it, because indeed in our case they do. And the bookend to ARD, talent management, is culture. And I have found this to be a fascinating area of study. So many leaders talk about culture as a soft thing. And culture to me is the hardest point of differentiation in a business. And it is as tangible as this desk, it is as tangible as filling a sales funnel or developing an R&D product, but you got to know what the levers are, and then it's all about accountability and transparency to the team, and willingness to recommend for both customer and team are such great indicators in a business. And it's interesting to me that, you know, not as many people are as serious about it as maybe you and I are.
Willingness to recommend, that is a verbatim out of the HPMS system.
Absolutely.
Right? Willingness to recommend. And that's your customer. Your customer sits in the desk next to you, the person you sell to,
yep.
Right? And the person yet who's not even part of the team.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to know, I mean, the processes that we have are to more deeply and more clearly understand what is going to move the needle for our team first and foremost, which is interesting because if ARD is number one, team has to be number one. Now, do you have the courage to tell an external customer that your team comes first? In our case, the answer is yes. And I say that because if you hire the best team and that team feels 10 feet tall, then they're in a position to differentially represent your company to that external customer. And then hand in glove with that is to more deeply and clearly understand what moves the needle for your external customers, and then deploy capital and be really disciplined. If you can't fully resource something, say no. We're not going to do it yet. Put it on the shelf and let it compete for resources in the future. We today, as a little over 5,000 teammates in Cordis, a little over $1 billion in revenue, we have 3 vital few, and that's it. And there's 10 more things we want to do, but we have the discipline to say no.
And that HPMS tree sits present
every single teammate
right.
in the company across 70 countries, translated in I don't know how many languages. Everybody knows our mission statement, our quality policy, our vital few, our shared values. It is crystal clear, and there is zero ambiguity about what we're doing to drive value.
And then finally, I've noticed over the years, I mean, I've obviously been involved intimately in talent for 35 years, and the development and landing of and chasing. And I will tell you, when I see a CEO, as yourself and others that are in your peer group who get it, there's the Matthew principle. To he who has much, more will be given, and to he has less, more will be taken away from. Once that starts to be put through the lens of talent, because great talent attracts great talent. And when you don't have talent, it's nearly impossible to attract talent. 100%. And so that becomes a self-fulfilling sort of flywheel for you.
It absolutely is. And what's required are a group of leaders that have real security, right? To hire people that are better than they are. And in my case, that's not very difficult. But if you set that as the template, and you understand that there are people around you that are way smarter than you in different areas of the business, and you're there to unlock that, then that gives license to everybody to act in a similar way. And saying, I don't know, is a really healthy thing. And help me understand this at an 8th grade level, which I say probably 5 times a day. Then you have a learning organization that has an openness to it and is not risk averse. Hopefully you're not making the same mistakes multiple times, but willing to take a risk. It is completely a flywheel. I love that word.
Yeah, it's true. Well, Scott, I really appreciate it. I know I'll see you in maybe 2 weeks' time at TCT as well.
Can't wait.
And lots of good news there as well.
Yeah, thank you, Joe.
Thank you,
what a
my friend.
pleasure. Thank you.
I'm Joe Mullings from the floor of the MedTech Conference in San Diego. Be well.